Hey, what is going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and today, Monday, we are one day away from the official unveiling. It's the 23rd. On the 24th, tomorrow, we're going to be getting our first trailer for Destiny 2 Expansion 2 Warmind. So I'm very excited about that. But, it's kind of got me itching and scratching like an ether-deprived dreg, trying to get myself any kind of information I can to hold me over until the trailer comes out sometime tomorrow and the embargo lifts, whenever that is. I think it's probably going to be sometime tomorrow after the trailer comes out, for all those other content creators so they can put out tons of information about what's coming next in Destiny 2. It's driving me nuts right now because I just want to see what exactly is coming in this next expansion. We're only a few weeks away, and I almost can't believe that. But of course, in the past couple of days, a lot of content creators just went out to that Destiny 2 Summit. And I just want to take a minute or two to talk about that, some of the results from it, and how I feel overall about the Summit itself, and whether or not this should be a thing moving forward with Bungie. And you know what, I guess I'll start with the meat and potatoes of this. I think this Destiny Summit probably did a lot of good. I think it's important for the developers at Bungie to hear directly from members of the community, feedback on how Destiny 2 is progressing as a game. And this summit, I think did a lot of good towards that end. We've been getting no end of stories from all the people who went up there and have been doing AMAs and stuff. People like King Gathalion, like the DCP crew, like Mylan Games, who've all been putting out some really interesting information. Of course, they can't put out anything too detailed until that embargo lifts, but we've gotten some pretty interesting stories, like specifically from Mylan Games and from DCP. They talked a bit about how Bungie, when showing off some of the upcoming content, I don't know if it was content that's coming in Warmind or if it's content from the big expansion later on in September, but they said they presented this kind of new game feature that the devs at Bungie all thought was going to be fantastic, and almost universally, all the content creators who were invited to the summit were like, good lord, no, why would you do this? Why would you create this kind of thing? This is terrible, this is awful. And it really caught the Bungie dev by surprise, so much so that they decided, oh, okay, well, you guys don't like it, give us your opinions on it, and we'll change it for the better. And I just thought that's a hilarious story, because it's like, that's Destiny 2 in a nutshell. It was a bunch of decisions that were like, why would you do this? Why in the world would you make this change? Once the community got their hands on it, and it seems like that was the case for at least one feature that was going to be coming in some upcoming content. That I'm very thankful content creators were able to, kind of get a hold of Bungie's ear at this summit and say, whoa, no, we don't like that feature. Here's what we would like. Change it to be this. Change it to be a little bit better. And I just thought that was hilarious, and it kind of made me change my viewpoint towards the way Bungie does this. A lot of people are mad at Bungie for the way that Destiny 2 panned out, and, rightfully so. They made a lot of burger decisions. Your boy TBL has some pretty harsh opinions for that. But it tells me that there wasn't really any malice in a lot of the bad changes they made. There wasn't really any malice in reducing PvP to mainly 4v4. There wasn't really any malice in taking away random roles or any of the kind of stuff, the kind of questionable changes that we saw between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. It was just a lack of feedback. They had no outside feedback that told them, hey, this is a terrible idea. Maybe you shouldn't take away shotguns and sniper rifles and fusion rifles from the secondary slot and put them into direct competition with swords and rocket launchers. Hey, maybe you shouldn't reduce the overall power of all weapons to an extremely slow time to kill that we saw back in the base game of Destiny 2. There was no real desire to make Destiny a worse game than Destiny 1. It just seems like it was a lack of outside opinions, and I find that to be really interesting and kind of humorous. And it also makes me really thankful that they had this summit before Warmind came out, and more importantly, before the expansion in September came out. Because of course, Warmind's almost done. Nothing that was said at that summit was really going to change some of the stuff that was coming in Warmind. That's coming out in just a couple of weeks. They're not going to have enough time to make any big changes for that without delaying it, and I very much doubt they're going to delay it. But this is probably going to make some very big changes for the expansion later this year. And that's good. I think it's been really important to hear some of this direct feedback from community members, and I would love to see it as a thing moving forward. Another big bit of information we got was from Mylan Games. He talked a bit about a lore session that they had with Christopher Barrett and a narrative lead there at Bungie, where they sat down for over an hour and just talked about lore, the structure of Destiny 2's story, some of the things they did right in Destiny 1's story that are kind of lacking in Destiny 2. I think a couple of the examples were that in Destiny 2, Callus, the big, villain at the top of the Leviathan within the raids and whatnot, he's not really explained at all outside of a couple of lore tabs on a couple of weapons like the raid weapons and armor and whatnot. But he's not really built up as a villain. He sort of comes out of nowhere after a name drop in one of the cutscenes with Gaul. Whereas in like Destiny 1, you had Oryx, who was built up from before the Taken King came out. There were bits of lore talking about him. When the Taken King came out, Oryx was built up completely through that story. It felt like a complete tale of introduction, build up to fight the villain, and then you take him down in that big story mission, and then you take him down for real inside of his raid. It felt like a big, complete tale that really explained to you who the character of Oryx was. And then, of course, we had the Books of Sorrow and stuff like that. There's nothing really like that for Emperor Callus. He's just kind of a big old Snorlax sitting on the top of the Leviathan. And they would love to see stuff like that come back, and stuff like exotic quests that really mattered. Stuff like, you remember the quest for the I think they used the example of the Touch of Malice, where, it builds up from the raid, you take some parts through the story, it gives you some backstory for Eris, and then boom, it finalizes in the raid one more time, and you've got this uber powerful exotic that's super helpful within the raid and in certain other activities and whatnot. And there's really nothing like that in Destiny 2. And this is the kind of feedback I'm super glad was given to Bungie over the course of this summit, because a lot of this is more intricate stuff that's just missing from D2. And again, a lot of it kind of highlights the need for the Bungie devs to connect more with the community that's playing the game that they're making. Again, it's just super funny to me, that mention of the new game feature that was largely rejected by the group there. How many other instances like that have there been with Destiny 2, where there were things introduced to the game that if they had just asked and talked to the community first, they would have known was a terrible idea right off the bat, and we never would have had that change. And it's why I'm really hoping this whole Destiny Summit sort of thing, where they contact creators, I'm hoping this happens again in the future. This should be a thing moving forward. And they could probably do it in a better way. They don't need to spend a bunch of money flying a bunch of content creators out to Bungie. This could all be solved very easily with a public test realm, a public test server, a private server that they could, give limited access to, where people could test out new features coming to the game or coming to expansions and stuff like that, and give Bungie direct feedback for. They don't got to spend all that money to fly your boy TBL out to all the way up to Seattle to hang out with them and whatnot, buy me a hotel, buy my steak dinner. Nah, just give me, a public test server, kind of like the Division or, any sorts of these other online games do. And we can play the content, say, this is what we like, this is what we don't like, give them that feedback, and hopefully avoid some of the missteps in the future. Save you a little bit of money there, Bungie and Activision. Although, if you really want, you can fly your boy out to Washington anytime you want. I'll be happy to fly out there, hang out in a hotel, and get to meet the devs and whatnot. That sounds like a pretty cool experience. But I think this summit has probably done a lot of good for the future of Destiny and for Bungie as a game development studio. I don't know, as we learn more about the kinds of things that were said at this Destiny summit, I feel more and more like, okay, we're finally seeing some real positive change here, some stuff that really needed to happen, happening. And that makes me happy. It makes me really hopeful for the future. Which, hey, after all, is the theme of Destiny as a whole. But alright, Guardian, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to get those thoughts out of my head. I've been thinking about it over the past couple of days, and really the too long didn't read version is basically, I think this Destiny 2 Summit thing, I think it's been a very good thing for Bungie to have. It certainly looks like we as a community were represented very well, and I think Bungie could really benefit from giving their devs more access to feedback, direct feedback from the community of people who are playing their game. But alright, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Do you think we've maybe turned a new leaf, taken a new step with this Destiny Summit? Do you think Bungie should have some more? I certainly am on that boat. Anyways, be sure to let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest Destiny 2 news. Tomorrow's going to be a very big day, so make sure you're tuning in. That's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I'm the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.